Hello, everyone. Welcome to INSZN's College Football Show. This is week 12. As always, I'm Braxton Wilkes. Co-founder Christian Berry is alongside me here. This is a special Friday night edition of the INSZN College Football Show. We're talking Clemson versus Louisville. But in bigger news, I wanted to briefly have Christian talk about the exciting stuff coming out of INSZN.
Yeah, absolutely. So last week we unveiled kind of our newest feature of the website, which is our in-season AI predictor, which assigns different percentages to what we think the winner of each game will be, each matchup. You can go look through our prior weeks. You can see our historical, win percentages that we've associated to each game. But super excited about that. It ranks as one of the highest, if not the highest now, in terms of across different providers, in terms of what predicts the games the best. And so we're super excited about unveiling that, and I think it will help us a lot with our game previews, recaps, etc. We'll make another video on kind of what goes behind our prediction model. But yeah, super excited to jump into that. So we can go ahead and talk about this Friday night's game, Clemson versus Louisville. Look, Louisville came off a week where they should have beaten California handily, and they didn't. So it kind of poses a kind of an interesting question of how do they bounce back this weekend at home against Clemson. Right now, our model has Louisville having a 67% chance of winning this game. I think a lot of that deviation from what would probably be something more in the 75 to 80% range was their performance last week, impacting their momentum that we look at during the season. So yeah, happy to jump into anything specific, but I think overall, look, I think Clemson's had a very disappointing season. They're 4-5. They have a pretty poor offense, ranking 55 in SP plus, 40th in SP plus defense, whereas Louisville is just kind of marginally better in both fields, but not necessarily a stand-away favorite by any means. Is there anything you want to look at in particular here, Braxton?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Clemson came in as, I want to say, the number 4 overall team in the preseason AP poll. One kind of quick shout out to the AQR rankings. I know there have been a lot of people on X, YouTube talking about them, especially with just the College Football Playoff Committee coming out and each week and the bracket coming out. Basically, the AQR looks at resumes as of this point. We have a kind of YouTube short that you can check out if you want to get into more specifics. And as always, go to INSZN.co or INSZNCFB.com to learn more about all of that. I guess the reason I brought up the AQR rankings was just to talk about preseason polls. Obviously, don't go into that at all. But going back to my initial point, Clemson, number 4 overall to start the year, a big portion of that was bringing back a whole lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Cade Klubnik obviously is their leader, their quarterback. I wanted to just briefly look at a comparison year over year on Cade, if that's all right with you. Just go head to head with him, and let's kind of see really mini player diagnosis here, and let's see what's been going on.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and take away things that aren't comparable year over year. So we can look at, so on the left side of the screen, we have 2025, right side we have 2024. Look, I think one of the biggest takeaways is, he's more accurate this year. He is a little bit slower on time to throw this year. Had more turnover-worthy plays last year, had more big-time plays last year. So there's not a huge deviation from what I'm seeing on the basic metrics of what, is changing him this year versus last. His QBR has dipped a little bit, which can be attributed to a couple different factors. If we look at it from the grades perspective, again, kind of seeing similar to last year. He's a little bit better under pressure last year than he is this year. But across the board, he's more or less the same quarterback and has just honestly a little bit more ball security when he's scrambling. So there's no huge high-level takeaways. So I don't think we can necessarily say, hey, Cade Klubnik took a step back from last year, but I'm not sure if we're seeing a lot of the progression. Now, what attributes to that? Could it be the offensive line? Could it be, the receivers he has this year? I think there's a lot of kind of questions up in the air about, why are they not as productive this year versus last year? Even if we just take a look at his radial, which looks at what I call the 5 main attributions of a quarterback across the board, he's more or less the same quarterback. So I think that Clemson has, I think Clemson's issues are a little bit more deep than, Cade Klubnik's performances this year, but coming in as kind of one of the Heisman hopeful, one of the Heisman favorites, and just kind of having a lackluster year of a 4-5 record, I think poses a lot of questions more for Clemson as a whole as opposed to him.
Yeah, I agree. It's been interesting because Cade Klubnik was number 2, number 3, number 4
Yeah.
coming into the year in Heisman hopeful kind of who Vegas had on their Heisman list. Obviously,
Yeah.
Arch Manning was number 1, and kind of like you saw there hasn't been a huge step off in his game versus last year. I think we probably were all expecting him to kind of move forward and have even better and better stats, and he
Yeah.
just hasn't really showed that this year. So obviously at any time a team doesn't do well, the quarterback is the one that's
Sure.
first blamed, other than maybe the head coach.
Yeah.
But that really hasn't been the case for Clemson this year.
And I think one more thing I want to point out. So we also provide headline grades, which looks at, how we grade different players. So for quarterbacks, we look at passing, rushing, overall offense, and how they're throwing the ball down the field and how they're throwing it against different defensive schemes. We do this for all positions, but for quarterbacks, one of the things I wanted to note was, we don't see these type of headline grades on a team that's 4-5 from a quarterback. Usually there's a lot more deviation saying, hey, he's, a C-level quarterback here, B-level quarterback here, D-level quarterback here. Across the board, other than rushing, which is more of kind of a subjective feature with the type of quarterback we're looking at, he's a good quarterback, and he's playing well this year. I mean, his QBR has been, pretty decent throughout the year, a little bit more volatility than we would have expected from Cade this year. But I just don't think that their 4-5 record necessarily equates to how his play's been this year. So I think that, if we go back and look at Clemson versus Louisville and we just take this matchup as a, single instance matchup, I think that Clemson's defense is going to be kind of one of the main things we need to look at. And Louisville's defense against, are they able to kind of prohibit Cade from having the consistent performances he's had this year? But really Clemson's defense, can they stop Louisville? And if so, I think Clemson comes out with a win here.
Yeah, and one thing that, as I was preparing for the college football show, I noticed on Louisville quarterback Miller Moss was just that he does not perform very well against a blitz. And I think he's D plus headline grade. So kind of going off your point of Clemson defense, trying to stop them, because really that's been their problem, is they don't stop anybody. In season kind of shows you right there, the headline grades show you D plus B on blitz pass. So if you can get them in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 situations as the Clemson D, and then bring a blitz, Miller Moss, although he's been a serviceable, a pretty darn good quarterback this year, has not performed well against the blitz. So that's kind of, if I'm putting on my DC headset, I'm getting them in 3rd and long situations to where I can let my linebackers perform some stunts and all of that and get at the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of looking at it as well. I mean, I think that if Clemson can get to Miller Moss well in terms of getting pressure on him, forcing Louisville to stay more on the ground with Isaac Brown leading that charge, I think that if you can make Louisville's offense one-dimensional, taking Miller Moss a little bit out of the equation here, I think that's going to be Clemson's best chance of limiting points, which they haven't really done super well this year. But I think that's kind of the main thing we're looking at here.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of just picking this game? Would you stay away from it? Would you look at it? What is INSZN AI saying?
Yeah, I mean, INSZN AI says that Louisville has a 67% chance of winning this game. The Vegas line in it right now is -3 Louisville. I might stay away from this game. Usually when we see something in the 67% range, the spread is a little bit wider. Only giving 3 points to Louisville for this game, to Clemson for this game, I think that kind of leaves me up in the air as maybe this is not one I touch, because, the AI is predicting it a fairly close game, but with Louisville winning by a little bit more than 3 points. So I'd probably stay away from this game if I were going to bet on it.
Yeah, but with what INSZN AI is saying, or kind of, I guess, going off of your point on INSZN AI, normally we're seeing a bigger spread when we have that 66, 67%
Yeah.
chance. So maybe lean Louisville -3.
If anything, lean
Yeah,
Louisville winning by 3. Exactly.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm still
And
not obviously convinced with that line.
I understand. I understand. And last week didn't help.
Right.
So anyway, again, this is INSZN's College Football Show, Friday night special edition. Thank you for joining us. I'm Braxton Wilkes, along with Christian Berry, co-founders of INSZN. If you have a moment, just follow, like, subscribe, put a comment on this video or any other videos you see. Let us know other videos you want to see and other content you want to see from us. And if you ever have any questions about INSZN AI, the AQR rankings, any of the content that INSZN provides, please don't hesitate to reach out on YouTube, X, Instagram, or even TikTok now. So thank y'all for joining. Until next time, we will see you later.